Okay, sorry. I went and tended to my daughter, and now we're good. Sorry about that. I was a little distracted. Okay, so that's that. So we looked at the cell parts, mitochondria, ribosomes, nucleus, all that good stuff. So now we're going to look at also the cell membrane. Okay, the cell membrane goes all the way around, right? And so that's how things get in and out. We used the Goldilocks story, and we said that with Goldilocks, she went and let me draw her because I'm a really good drawer. That's Goldilocks. So Goldilocks, she went to the bear's house and she tried the bed. And one was too hard, one was too soft, and one was just right. And so we say that inside of our body, we use that term called homeostasis, right? And homeostasis is just right. So she was looking for the just right bed, and inside of our cell, we're trying to keep it just right, because even a little bit can cause death. You die. So what we have to do is make sure homeostasis is maintained, and that's the point of the cell membrane, is to make sure everything is just right. The right amount of stuff is in and out, and also there are little things like cell markers that say, hey, I'm a this type of cell, hey, I need a this or that or whatever. And so it does several things. We call this a lipid bilayer, which means that it's made of, remember, two kind of parts that face each other. One likes water and one doesn't like water. So that's just kind of a brief overview of that, because we're going through several things. Alright, so that is the animal cell. The plant cell has some things that are unique to it. One of them is that not only does it have a cell membrane or a plasma membrane, it has something called a what? Cell wall. Right? So it has a cell wall, so it helps give it like a crazy structure, and it's strong and it's awesome. So, and there's a nucleus, and it has all the same stuff, mitochondria and all that kind of stuff. But it also has some additional things, and one of the additional things is, I don't know, it kind of looks like they're stacked plates inside, and we call that a what? It's where photosynthesis happens. We call it chloroplast. Alright, and so now we're going to look at what is that formula, okay? So we're talking about a plant, and we know a plant needs water. We know a plant needs sunlight. Not very good at this. And what else does a plant need? Plant needs what we breathe out, carbon dioxide, and then boom, with the help of sunlight, something happens, and you end up with what we need to eat, the right thing that we need to eat, glucose, and, which is a carbohydrate, which is a sugar, so all these different names for it, and then you end up with, what do we need? Oxygen to breathe in. So that is chloroplast. Okay, the third thing that makes a plant cell unique is that we have vacuoles, but they have a large central vacuole, so they can store lots of food and nutrients, but mostly just water. So not a whole lot of other stuff besides water, but there are a few other things, and so we call that a central vacuole. Okay, so the three things that make it unique are cell wall, a chloroplast, where photosynthesis takes place. There, if you're wondering how to spell it for later, that's how you spell it. And then the central vacuole. All right, there you go. Okay, so that's that. Oh, I did forget to tell you what this is called. Whenever it doesn't need energy to get in, if we're back at the cell, either cell, it happens both places. So we're going to look at this animal cell. But when things going in and out across the cell membrane, there's two ways that happens. There's active, which requires energy. So active, like if you're going up a hill, it's going to take you energy, right? So that's like whenever you go from where there's a whole lot of something, right? And so there's not very much. Well, naturally what will happen is it goes from high to low. So that's what naturally happens. That's passive. But whenever you go in the opposite direction, from low to high, so that's not naturally what happens. It's called active, and it takes energy. So passive transports, like whenever water goes in, and when water goes in, we call it something special. We call it, do you remember when water goes from high to low? What it's called? It's called, you guys did a grape experiment on it. It's called osmosis. There we go, osmosis, and that's an example of passive. It just is what naturally happens. Active takes energy. Whee. Okay, so, alright, so one last thing and we're done for today. Okay, the last thing is just bacteria and viruses, so I'm not really writing a whole lot. Just that bacteria, I'm really good at this. So there's the DNA, kind of like a spaghetti. Yay! Anyhow, so we've got bacteria. Bacteria, 99% of it is good, and only 1% is bad. There you go. So that's one of the key things. The other thing is, like I said earlier, is there are two kingdoms that represent bacteria. There's archaea bacteria, and this is what kind? The extreme kind. So they live in places that are really salty or really hot or whatever. So either thermophiles, where it's hot, halophiles, where it's salty, methanogens, which like where there's lots of methane gas or whatever. So that's archaeobacteria. The other type are eubacteria, like the ones that are on your skin right now, that are in your yogurt, that are all around you, that make you sick. Streptococcus, the kind that gives you strep throat or whatever. So these are all around you. They're the ones that are more relevant to you. Okay, so that's bacteria. They can make you sick, whether it's your strep throat or whatever, salmonella, or they are good as well. They help in your digestion, in your intestines, but all of those kind are eubacteria. Archaeobacteria we find in the